Hi, this is the round 2 for the CC1 module in MTAP, and we will discuss lipids and lipoproteins. What are the general features of lipids? Una, insoluble in water, or ang term natin dyan, hydrophobic. So since insoluble sila sa water, in the laboratory we make use of non-polar solvents to dissolve lipids such as ether, chloroform, and benzene. So ano naman ang major functions of lipids sa katawan natin? Number 1, it forms a membrane which separates the components of intracellular from the outside environment. Second, major storage of energy. In fact, they are the highest source of energy, more than the carbohydrates. Number 3, part of a structural unit of membrane. Sabi nga natin in relation with number 1. Pero paano yan nangyayari? So di-discuss natin yan later. Pero recall lang natin na part sila ng lipid bilayer of our cells. Other functions which are important, no? Number 1, there are carriers of electrons in the form of ubiquinones and NAD. NAD stands for nicotinamide adenine dinucleotide. Second, they are part of activating factors or cofactors of some vitamins such as yung B vitamin group. Third, they form pigments which absorbs light in the form of ubiquinone as well, and emulsifying agent in the form of bile acids. Ano ibig sabihin ng emulsifying agent? Important yan during the lipid metabolism from our diet. Next is part siya ng structural component ng steroid hormones natin, no? Such as yung mga sex hormones, vitamin D3 or vitamin DOG, okay? Vitamin D3 kasama yan. Lastly, they are part of the intracellular signals. In example, no, yung mga prostaglandins and thromboxanes. What are the different classes of lipids? So number 1, simple. Next compound, derived lipids. These are lipids, no, in a combination of a compound and simple lipids which underwent a process called hydrolysis. And then lastly, your sterols. So ano yung mga example of each classes? So, unahin natin yung simple lipids. Example niyan yung fats and waxes. Sa compound lipids naman, ito yung kaya tinawag na compound kasi it is a combination of a lipid and another molecule. So halimbawa ito, phospholipids, no? Phosphate plus lipids, okay? Ganglioside, lipopolysaccharides, no? Lipids with proteins, carbohydrates. Lipoproteins naman, lipids with proteins, okay? Example naman ng phospholipids natin, yung glycerophospholipids and sphingophospholipids. Sa derived lipids naman, no, again, these are a combination of a compound or simple lipids which underwent hydrolysis. Example, steroids, fatty acids, glycerol, and ketones. And one example lang sa sterol, which is the cholesterol. I-discuss natin si phospholipids. Phospholipids are characterized as being amphipathic. So, ano ibig sabihin ng amphipathic? They are composed of a head and a tail. Yung head niya is water-loving or hydrophilic. Ang tail naman, fears water. So, it hates water, so hydrophobic. Example of phospholipids, no, phosphatidylcholine, which is the most abundant type of phospholipid, sphingomyelin, and phosphatidylethanolamine. So, note lang natin, no, number 1 and number 2 part yan ng ating RBC membrane, kung naalala natin. And sphingomyelin, isa siya sa mga parameters which determine fetal lung maturity. What are the features of triglycerides naman? Una, hydrophobic. Next, neutral lipid. Ano ibig sabihin ng neutral? Walang charge. Okay? And triglycerides are made up of 3 fatty acid molecules and 1 glycerol molecule that are bound by ester bonds. Okay, ito yun. Next, cholesterol is a steroid alcohol which is made up of 4 rings plus a carbon-hydrogen tail. And ano yung importance ng cholesterol? Cholesterol is a precursor for bile acids which is an emulsifying agent, steroid hormones, and vitamin D3. So we have 2 forms of cholesterol, no? Based on if there are esterified, no, or bonded with another molecule. So number 1 is yung esterified cholesterol or cholesterol esters, which is the most abundant type of cholesterol. Next is yung free cholesterol or non-esterified cholesterol, no, 30%. It comprises about 30% of all cholesterol level. Lipoproteins naman tayo. Lipoproteins are arranged in a spherical formation, no? Itong spherical formation na ito, no, ang tawag doon ay micelles. So what are the components of lipoprotein? Sabi nga natin micelles sila, so bilog yan. So merong inside and outside, no? Yung outside components or yung surface components is made up of free cholesterol or non-esterified cholesterol and phospholipids plus apolipoproteins. Sa loob naman ng ng micelle, no, yung tinatawag nating core. So anong meron sa loob? Esterified cholesterol plus triglycerides. We have 4 major classes of lipoproteins, namely your chylomicrons, VLDL, very low density lipoprotein, LDL, low density lipoprotein, HDL, high density lipoprotein. So differentiate natin sila according to these parameters, yung lipid content, cholesterol, triglyceride, apoprotein, the associated or related apolipoprotein nila, and their electrophoretic mobility. So, paano natin aaralin itong mga numbers na to? Napakarami. So, based on this table, no, marami tayong pwedeng itanong, no, based on their differences. Halimbawa, what lipoprotein it has the highest in lipid content, no? Chylomicrons yan. Okay? Ito yung highest lipid content among all 4. Highest in cholesterol, yung LDL. Highest in triglyceride, yung chylomicrons. Highest in protein, HDL. Baliktarin natin, lowest naman sa mga tong parameter na to. Lowest in lipids, HDL. Lowest in cholesterol, chylomicrons. Lowest in triglyceride, HDL. And lowest in protein content, your chylomicrons. Ang next natin na differentiating factor is their apolipoprotein relationship, no? Yung chylomicrons, ang apolipoprotein niya ay yung ApoB48, ApoC, and ApoE. VLDL, ApoB100, ulit-ulit to, ApoC and ApoE. LDL naman, tanggalin lang natin si C and E, ApoB100. Si HDL, puro A, no? ApoA1, ApoA2, and dagdagan natin ng isa pang letter, ApoC. Punta naman tayo sa electrophoretic mobility of each lipoprotein. So, we can separate them through electrophoresis kasi iba-iba sila ng, kumbaga ng speed. Sa chylomicrons, it does not move. It stays at the origin part of the electrophoresis. Si VLDL naman, mag-travel siya dito lalagpasan ng konti sa beta, so pre-beta. Si LDL stop siya kay beta. Okay? Si HDL naman papunta siya kay alpha. So yan yung mga differences ng mobility nila using the electrophoresis. So ano pa yung ibang description aside sa contents, no? They're related apolipoproteins and electrophoretic mobility. So, unahin natin si chylomicrons. Chylomicrons are produced by intestines, no? Kaya siya doon manggagaling kasi ang kanyang function is to transport lipid from the food papunta sa body tissues. Again, they have the highest triglyceride content, no? And kapag madaming chylomicrons sa sample, usually they are least dense. So they will float kahit hindi ka nagse-centrifuge ng sample. And they render a milky appearance of plasma. Yung tinatawag natin chylous specimen. Reviewin lang natin, electrophoretic mobility, it stays at the origin, and the associated apolipoproteins are ApoB48, ApoC, and ApoE. VLDL or very low density lipoproteins are produced by liver naman. Okay? Ang main function niya is to transport the triglyceride and cholesterol from the endogenous origin. Saan ba nasustore yung ibang fats natin? Doon sa liver. Kaya doon din siya na-produce. Okay? VLDL, kapag high yung levels niya or elevated yung concentration niya sa bloodstream, it renders or it predisposes the patients to atherogenic state, or ibig sabihin they may produce or result to a atherosclerosis or atherogenic conditions. Okay, dito naman tayo sa electrophoretic mobility. Again, they stop at the pre-beta region, no, bago mag-beta, kaya pre-beta. Apolipoproteins naman niya is ApoB100, ApoC, and ApoE. So, wag natin kakalimutan, sa chylomicrons, ApoB48, VLDL naman, ApoB100. Low-density lipoproteins or LDL is produced from the VLDL metabolism. So, kailangan muna ma-form ni liver yung VLDL bago ma-form ang LDL. So, this lipoprotein has the highest cholesterol content. Beta region naman yung kanyang yung final stop pagdating sa electrophoretic mobility. Apolipoproteins naman niya, ApoB100, katulad ni VLDL. HDL or high density lipoproteins, same sila ni VLDL, naproproduce sila sa liver. They have the highest protein content and their electrophoretic mobility, no, papunta siya sa alpha region. The apolipoproteins naman niya is Apo, laging A na yan, ha? ApoA1, ApoA2. Dagdagan natin isang letter, ApoC. Next class of lipoproteins, these are considered as minor or abnormal lipoproteins. So, hindi sila normally present in high concentration. Okay? Number 1, intermediate density lipoproteins. They are formed from VLDL metabolism. So, kung ganito, no, halos pareha sila ng electrophoretic mobility, pwede siyang pumunta from pre-beta region up to the beta region. Next naman, your LPA or lipoprotein A. So, take note lang natin na small a to kasi ang apolipoprotein content niya is apo small a. Okay, huwag nating kakalimutan. Iba to kay apo big capital A na associated with your HDL. Okay? So, ano ang kakaiba kay lipoprotein A? It is linked to apo small a and your apolipoprotein B100. Okay? Ang electrophoretic mobility niya dun sa pre-beta region and they are associated with thrombotic states such as your cardiovascular diseases and stroke. Dito naman tayo, third example is the lipoprotein X or LPX. It is linked to ApoC, okay? And yung increased levels of your lipoprotein X is seen in LCAT deficiency. Ano ibig sabihin ng LCAT? Lecithin, cholesterol, acyl transferase. Lastly, your beta VLDL, it is formed from defective VLDL catabolism, no? And yung increased levels nitong beta VLDL is usually associated with the type 3 hyperlipoproteinemia. Their electrophoretic mobility, no, it will travel papunta doon sa beta region katulad ni LDL. No? Kaya siya tinawag na defective kasi kakaiba yung electrophoretic mobility niya, instead sa pre-beta, nasa beta region siya. So sa bishops, no, marami pang types of apolipoproteins, no? Reviewin lang natin yung A1 and A2 kay HDL, A4 HDL din yan together with your chylomicrons and VLDL. Naalala niyo si B100 sa VLDL and LDL yan. B48 kay chylomicrons. Okay? C1, 2, and 3, pare-parehas yan na kasama ni chylomicrons, VLDL, and HDL. ApoE naman, no? Same lang kay chylomicrons, VLDL, and HDL. How about ito, apo small a? Nakalink yan kay lipoprotein A, which is a thrombotic, no? Prothrombotic molecule. Okay, punta naman tayo sa specimen consideration. So, fasting natin, meron tayong dalawang way. Pwede tayong mag-fasting, no? Pwede ring wala, okay? Sa fasting, pwede ka mag-determine ng triglyceride and LDL. Ilang hours? 12 to 14 hours. So, halimbawa, meron tayong request na FBS, no? Pwede tayong sulat natin FBS, which is 8 to 10 hours. Ang fasting ng triglyceride and LDL, 12 to 14 hours. So, paano natin i-advise si patient? No? Pwede siya mag-fasting from 10 to 12 hours. Kung meron tayong both request for FBS, triglyceride, and LDL. Sa non-fasting naman, nakalimutan mag-fasting, pero pwede ka pa rin mag-determine ng lipid profile ng patient mo. Yun nga lang, si cholesterol and HDL lang ang pwede natin ma-check for a non-fasting specimen. So, serum is collected using a serum separator tube, preferably, no? Ang designated color niyan is gold. Kung wala naman, pwede rin naman yung red. Pero kapag nag-aaral tayo or we want to determine the lipoprotein fraction such as yung ano yung mga yon, yung mga chylomicrons, yung mga DLDL. The specimen of choice for that is EDTA. Sources of error naman, no? We have two major sources. We have water contamination and hemolysis. Sa water contamination, ang problema dyan, it suppresses color development, lalo-lalo na sa mga colorimetric methods natin. Sa hemolysis naman, it may cause a false increase in the lipid profile. Discuss natin yung mga methodologies used for cholesterol determination. Unahin natin yung mga chemical methods. Make use of chemicals. Okay? Unahin natin si Zlatkis, Zak, and Boyle, which is one step. Okay? Discuss natin itong mga basis of steps later on. No? Pero we have to familiarize lang with the names. So, one step, since one step siya, this is the most rapid method. Okay? Next naman, makes use of two steps, si Carr and Rector. Ang next test naman natin ay yung reference method for cholesterol determination, which is the Ebel-Kendall method. No? 3 steps naman yan. The gold standard requires 4 steps, si Shenheimer or Sperry method. Okay, dito naman tayo sa mga steps. Nabanggit natin kanina na yung mga methodologies natin sa chemical methods make use of approaches, no? Yung mga 1 step, 2 steps, yung mga yan. So, the first step usually is the extraction process. In this process, you need to separate, no, cholesterol from the protein. And yung mga reagent natin dito, usually they are non-polar solvents. No? Unang-una, si Bloor's reagent. Si Bloor's reagent is composed of ether plus ethanol. Okay? Next naman, si chloroform. Pwedeng gamitin. And lastly, your hexanes. Ang next step dito, which is an extra step lang, no? After extraction. No? Ang tawag dyan ay adsorption. Ang purpose nito is to extract all forms of cholesterol. No? And the reagent for this is zeolite. Ito na, technically, this is the second step kasi additional step lang naman ito, no? After extraction. Second step is saponification or hydrolysis. Cholesterol is hydrolyzed, okay? Hydrolyzed and degraded into free cholesterol and fatty acid. So, yung mga esterified or cholesterol esters natin, kailangan natin paghiwa-hiwalayin, no? Gagawin natin free cholesterol and the fatty acids. The reagent for that is the alcoholic potassium hydroxide. Okay? Third step is purification. Purification, the purpose is separate mo pa further, no? By precipitation. You separate the free cholesterol from the sample, and you can also remove interferences or sources of error such as yung mga chromogen interferences nyo, no? Example niyan, yung mga bilirubin, yung mga yan. Very non-specific, it may interfere with the colorimetric process in the next step. So, anong pwede nating reagent dyan? Digitonin. Then lastly, you have to develop a color. Okay? And then yung color na yon, you will measure that via spectrophotometer. So, anong mga iba-iba yung mga ginagamit na color reagent, no, per methods sa chemical type of methodologies ng cholesterol. So, again, no, ang last step natin is colorimetry, tama? So, we have two different colorimetric reactions. Meron tayong Lieberman-Burchard reaction and Salkowski reaction. So, ang basis niyan, yung reagents niyan ay, no, sulfuric acid. No, ayan yung parang base reagents natin. Okay? Magdadagdag lang tayo ng additional reagent, which is the one of their differences sa Lieberman-Burchard, acetic anhydride, sa Salkowski, ferric ion. Ang end product din, dahil magkaiba yung reagent, magkaiba din yung end product, no? Pero halos same yung name, which is cholecystadienyl. Dito sa Lieberman monoburchard, monosulfonic acid. Dito sa Salkowski, disulfonic acid. Pagdating sa end color, iba din, no? And based din sa stability nila. Ang end color ng Lieberman-Burchard is green, which is unstable. Agad nawawala yung pagka-green ng solution. Para maging stable siya, you have to add another reagent, no? Sulfate-based reagent. Dito naman sa Salkowski, mas maganda siya kasi ang end color niya very much stable and ang color is red. Next group of methodologies are enzymatic methods. So meron tayong 3 enzymes na ginagamit for cholesterol determination. Una ay cholesterol esterase, cholesterol oxidase, and peroxidase. So paano natin ginagamit itong enzymes na to? So halimbawa, no, sa sample natin may cholesterol ester tayo plus water. Mag-undergo sila ng process, no, via your cholesterol esterase. So magiging cholesterol yan, free cholesterol, and fatty acids. This is fatty acids. And then next naman, yung ating free cholesterol plus oxygen, dadaan kay kay cholesterol oxidase para ma-form si cholestenone plus hydrogen peroxide. Ito ang kailangan natin, hydrogen peroxide plus dye, no, which is a color reagent, dadaan kay peroxidase, will produce a colored end product plus water. And it will be measured by spectrophotometer. Okay, must know reference values for cholesterol. Desirable level is lower than 200 milligrams per DL. Borderline high, no? Kailangan na mag-lifestyle modification. 200 to 239 milligrams per deciliter. And consider na natin na mayroon siyang disease state kapag ganito ang levels, greater than or equal to 240 milligrams per deciliter. The conversion factor from SI to traditional unit, no, is to divide it to 0.026. So next, clinical significance of cholesterol levels. So sa hypercholesterolemia or high or elevated cholesterol blood concentration, we can associate them with the following: hyperlipoproteinemia types 2, 3, and 4. Biliary cirrhosis, nephrotic syndrome. Sa nephrotic syndrome, meron kang lipidemia, high lipids in the bloodstream, lipidemia. And lipiduria, no? May presence ka ng fat cells sa urine. Next, poorly controlled diabetes mellitus, alcoholism, and primary hypothyroidism because of low rate of metabolism. Sa hypocholesterolemia, decreased cholesterol level. So meron tayo dyan severe hepatocellular disease, it's a disease concerning your liver cells. Malnutrition, severe burns, hyperthyroidism, and malabsorption. You are incapable to absorb lipids sa malabsorption syndromes. For triglyceride determination, dalawa ang type of methodologies natin, colorimetric and fluorometric. The name, specific names for colorimetric is or are Van Hendel and Silversmith, which both use chromotropic acid. Sa fluorometric chemical method naman, Hansch condensation, which make use of diacetyl acetone plus ammonia. Next naman are peroxidase catalyzed methods or syempre yung ating suffix na ASE, no? Ito ay yung mga enzymatic methods natin. And usually enzymatic methods are done together with spectrophotometer, no? At wavelength of 340 nanometers. So meron tayong tatlong methods, no, for enzymatic triglyceride determination. Number 1, glycerophosphate oxidase plus peroxidase. Ang end product niyan is water. Pag pyruvate kinase plus lactate dehydrogenase, ang end product natin dyan, lactate. Lastly, your glycerophosphate dehydrogenase plus diaphorase, ang end product is formazan. These are the expected values of triglyceride determination. In a normal patient, they usually present with less than 150 milligrams per deciliter. Kino-consider natin as borderline kapag 150 to 199 mg per dl ang level. High, 200 to 499. Very high naman, greater than or equal to 500 milligrams per deciliter. The conversion factor, no, is 0.0113. If from traditional to SI unit, you need to multiply. Okay, for clinical significance muna, no? What are the conditions associated with abnormal levels of your triglyceride? Unahin natin yung high levels or hypertriglyceridemia. So, una dyan yung mga types of hyperlipoproteinemia natin such as yung 1, 2B, 3, 4, and 5. Nephrotic syndrome, no? Kasi sabi nga natin meron ditong lipidemia and lipiduria. Alcoholism, hypothyroidism, no? Katulad nung nauna natin na-discuss, and then pancreatitis. So sa pancreatitis, dalawa titingnan natin dyan, your amylase level, lipase level, and your triglycerides. Sa hypotriglyceridemia naman, no, it is usually associated with brain infarction or stroke, malnutrition, hyperthyroidism, and lastly, your malabsorption. Quantitation or determination for HDL cholesterol. So, una dyan ay precipitation. Precipitation, you make use of polyanion divalent cation. And dito naman sa pangalawa, this is considered as the reference method for HDL cholesterol, no? Ultracentrifugation. So we basically have 3 steps, no? First step is ultracentrifugation, which removes VLDL from the sample. Next naman na kailangan natin tanggalin is LDL via precipitation. And lastly, we measure the remaining cholesterol part, which is the HDL, using Abel-Kendall method. The reference values for HDL is kapag gusto natin laging mataas kapag HDL kasi good type yan ng cholesterol, di ba? So, in a normal patient, dapat ang presentation niyan is greater than or equal to 50 milligrams per deciliter. Consider natin as low or abnormal kapag less than 40 milligrams per deciliter. Okay, to determine the quantity of LDL cholesterol naman, no, usually it is only computed, no, using this formula. LDL is equal to total cholesterol minus HDL minus VLDL. So, na-discuss naman natin how to determine the levels of total cholesterol and HDL a while ago, di ba? So, for VLDL, kino-compute din yan. So, ito muna ang unahin natin i-compute, no? Using the Friedewald's formula, no? VLDL is equal to, in millimoles per liter, is equal to your triglyceride divided by 2.175. Kapag naman ang units ay mg per dl, triglyceride is divided by 2. Sa DeLong formula naman, VLDL in millimoles per liter is equal to triglyceride divided by 2.825. No? In milligrams per deciliter naman, triglyceride divided by 6.5. So usually, yung mga students nalilito kung anong formula ba, anong value yung gagamitin. So, normally, sa question stem, sasabihin naman anong klaseng formula dapat ang gagamitin nyo, no? Para malaman nyo kung anong appropriate value or formula ang dapat nating sundin para malaman yung value ng VLDL. Ano naman yung mga expected LDL values, no? In a normal patient, no, less than 100 milligrams per DL, near optimal, no? Pag ganito yung values, ano lang muna, lifestyle modification lang muna, no? As long as wala pang symptoms. 100 to 129 mg per DL, borderline high, 130 to 159 mg per DL. Kung consider na natin as high, si 160 to 189 mg per DL. And lastly, kapag very high na, no, greater than or equal to 190 mg per deciliter. Next, phospholipid determination. Usually, yung mga fraction dyan, ginagamit siya for other clinical significance such as fetal, to determine the fetal lung maturity. Anong mga fractions of phospholipid ba yan? Yung lecithin to sphingomyelin ratio or LS ratio. Diba? Back in AUBF, ang ginagamit na specimen dito is amniotic fluid to determine the value of LS ratio. Other uses of phospholipid levels, no? Pwede yan gamitin to correlate with Tanger's disease, no? Or beta or hypo-beta lipoproteinemia. And lastly, your LCAT deficiency. LCAT stands for lecithin cholesterol acyl transferase. So, how do we measure phospholipid? No, gumagamit tayo ng chemical method, no? Based dun sa content ng phosphorus dun sa phospholipid. So, paano ginagawa yan? By measuring the phosphorus, you multiply it by 25 para malaman natin yung total quantity ng phospholipid sa specimen. And ano yung mga steps natin for chemical method? Una, yung extraction, no? And then, second, oxidation. You convert the phospholipid to inorganic phosphorus. And to determine the level of phosphorus, kailangan dumaan siya ng colorimetric method, no? By using the reagent called molybdenum blue. And then, pwede mo nang i-quantitate, no, yung intensity of the blue color dun, para maging yun yung gagamitin mong value for the lipid phosphorus. And then you multiply by 25 and that's your phospholipid level. Next naman, hindi mawawala yung mga enzymatic methods natin, no? So we make use of 3 enzymes. Una, ang phospholipase D. So si phospholipid sa specimen nyo, dadaan dito sa enzyme na to form your choline. Si choline naman, dadaan sa next enzyme, your choline X oxidase to create or to develop betaine and hydrogen peroxide. So, si hydrogen peroxide naman dadaan kay peroxidase with the combination of your phenol and amino antipyrine. So, ito yung magbubuo ng color, kumbaga. The end product is the quinone imine. Quinone imine is measured spectrophotometrically at the wavelength of 500 nanometers. Ang next natin i-discuss is a test to determine the cause of turbidity of the specimen. It is called your standing plasma test or refrigerator test. Kaya tinawag na refrigerator kasi ilalagay natin sa ref yung specimen overnight, no, from a temperature ranging from 2 to 8 degrees Celsius. And yung result natin, if yung chylomicrons ang cause ng turbidity, kailangan yung creamy layer ay nagfo-float nasa taas ng specimen. Kapag naman all throughout the specimen, no, very turbid, no, from top to bottom, ang cause niyan ay VLDL. So, these are the following lipid disorders classified using Fredrickson classification. So, meron tayong type 1, 2A, 2B, 3, 4, and 5. So, ano yung mga specific names sa mga yan? Sa type 1, hyperchylomicronemia or familial LDL deficiency. Ang ina-expect natin mataas dyan ay yung triglyceride and your chylomicron, especially. Okay? Sa type 2A, no, usually na mababasa natin ApoB defect yan or familial hypercholesterolemia. So, ang mataas si cholesterol of course and LDL. Sa type 2B, familial combined hyperlipidemia. So, usually lahat mataas except chylomicrons. Okay? Type 3 naman, familial dysbeta lipoproteinemia. Ang mataas dyan ay yung triglyceride, cholesterol, and your VLDL. Okay? Type 4, familial hypertriglyceridemia. Ang mataas dyan ay triglyceride, okay, and VLDL. Sa type 5 naman, acquired lipidemia, no? Sa lahat ng types dyan na may hereditary or familial pattern, si type 5 lang yung may acquired na pattern or nakukuha from lifestyle changes or eating habits or environmental factors. Okay? Lahat mataas, no, dito sa acquired lipidemia except your LDL. So, kailangan lang natin ma-memorize yan and itong mga names nila. Okay, that's it. That's the last slide for this topic. Please proceed with the homework and ratio activity posted on your Canvas. Thank you.